damage as possible to muck that up.
Yeah.
But that's sort of a long ball, given that, you know, this deck can go off through Passing Flames now. Ooh.
So we have a battle of friends here.
Frenemies.
Frenemies, as it were, yes. We have Gerald Thompson.
Gerry T.
Gerry T, as it were.
It looks like he doesn't have that many lands in play.
Just one? What's wrong with one?
We've come against Jace and 4 lands in a factory.
I don't see much of a problem at all.
I assume Lone Wasteland is going. This is pretty sweet to move someone on camera when they're just getting kicked out of them. You know what I mean? I love it.
We join a match in progress. Gerry Thompson versus Braun. Thought sees you. Can that take the Jace that's in play? No, it cannot. But it does get to look at 2 Abrupt Decays, a Snapcaster Mage, and a Life from the Loam.
I assume Lone Wasteland has been... I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm no professional, but I would go out on a limb and say Lone Wasteland has contributed to whatever board state Gerry is in right now.
It's rather likely. And Jace is probably over here fate sealing for Brian and other such fun times. Both these players are playing different variants on Bug as Gerry thought sees gets his info and gets out of dodge.
Yep.
Shuffles up for game 3.
Yep.
Both of these players, again, playing Bug. Gerry's list has Shardless Agent and Ancestral Visions. The mini combo that can be set up with Brainstorm and Ponder, while Braun Duin's deck list has a lot more Planeswalkers and your favorite, Garrick Relentless.
Garrick Relentless. Yeah, I mean, you know, is very well suited for the Bug mirror. Definitely is true. But yeah, Gerry's deck, Shardless Agent is from one of the kind of boutique products. I don't know if it was it's some Commander Plane Chase. It's a Gray Ogre with Cascade, so totally busted.
It's Gray Ogre, but it's so much more than a Gray Ogre, Patrick. It's an artifact. It's blue. You can remove with the Force of Will. It's so much more.
I'm referring to just mana cost and stats.
All right.
I mean, I would not... Power level, certainly a step or 2 above Gray Ogre.
Then why can't it be a Skate Zombies?
Because that card is not as iconic as Gray Ogre is.
All right. Fair enough.
But yeah, so like Cedric just said, the major combo is Ancestral Visions, which is a 0 mana spell. Cascading that thing is pretty awesome. Ancestral is also just pretty good on its own in any matchup where you're not going to die super fast.
Yeah.
You have him as a value play to get off of your Shardless Agent. You have Abrupt Decay, Thoughtseize. All these things are just generally pretty awesome to be revealing off of your Shardless Agent. And they're also good cards to be drawing on their own. So, you know, a take on Bug that's a little bit different than a lot of the other Deathrite Shaman builds we've been seeing recently. Gerry's deck, unfortunately for him in this matchup, very heavily exposed to Wasteland Loam. No basics to go get.
Yeah.
If that engine gets online. He has Nile Spellbombs on the sideboard to break it up, what have you, but he's definitely at risk of that sequence just locking him up.
Yeah, and what you find in a lot of the Bug deck lists nowadays are very rarely basics in these decks. You know, they have a lot of fetch lands, of course. Some of them have wastelands and Mistress Factories like Brian's deck list does. Some others have some value lands, maybe Volrash Stronghold, who knows. But what you don't find very often are basic lands in these decks.
Yeah, you know, the factories definitely help out a lot in, you know, factories and Creeping Tar Pit help a lot in fighting Planeswalkers. And then once you start adding those lands, plus whatever wastelands you want, there's just no room for basic islands.
Yep. So we see both players here. It looks like Gerry is keeping his 7 and Brian is going on down.
Yep. So in this matchup, I think, excluding the Loam stuff, I'd much rather be on Gerry's side of things. His deck just seems a lot more streamlined, probably a little bit better at setting up Jace and so forth. So this deck seems pretty sweet to me, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty back and forth. You know, Brian's checklist doesn't have Force of Will, but you know, it does have, as you said, Loam, but it also has just a lot of Planeswalkers in it too. So
yes, Gerry gets decided into another Inquisition, another Hymn. So yeah, just a little extra attrition elements, which is what a lot of these matchups come down to. Is can you outcard someone, and then can you protect yourself against Planeswalkers or establish your own? Seems to be a lot of what these matchups come down to.
A little extra.
Gerry leading with a fetch land for Underground Sea and Deathrite Shaman. Very common opening in the format nowadays. Brian, after his mulligan, is going to fire back with Verdant Catacombs, finding Underground Sea, and a Thoughtseize. Gerry revealing a hand of Nile Spellbomb, Ancestral Visions, Hymn to Torak, and 2 more lands. So that Death Ray Shaman's online, ton of action, and Gerry with 2 very threatening cards in Ancestral and Hymn to Torak.
A little surprising to suspend Ancestral on turn 1.
Well, it's nice to actually have enough mana to then, like next turn he could do him plus Ancestral.
Sure.
If he plays his Deathrite Shaman first. He's going to get the him out of there. Brian probably just can't afford to get tagged by him after a mulligan. And Gerry finds a Brainstorm. Not sure if he wants to fire that off right now or wait until maybe his hand gets a little bit worse. And he is tanking. Brainstorm, definitely the most complicated card he could draw right now. Just going to suspend Ancestral.
Content to just wait it out?
Yep.
Interesting here that you find is you see Gerry does not even attack with his Deathrite Shaman. Part of the reason for that is we've seen Abrupt Decay is he can remove the land in Brian's graveyard to stop Life in the Loam a little bit. He can also, brainstorm with the Deathrite Shaman and then shuffle away the cards with the fetch land. I mean, there's some interactions here that he can do. So we're going to see Bayou, and it's going to remove something.
Let's see here. I'm going to take...
Looks like it just removes the Thoughtseize.
Sure. Ancestral ticks down. Gerry plays a Nile Spellbomb, and these seem just awesome here. Brian's deck, so much of what is good about his deck in these control matchups is being able to use his graveyard as a resource, and Gerry going out of his way to keep that unlocked. Also a good answer to Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. And we do know that Gerry does have a Brainstorm in his hand along with the fetch land. He's been trying to wait as best he can to, find some cards to use here as we see a Thoughtseize drawn. Just some cards to draw and put some cards away.
Yeah, Gerry has showing a lot of patience with this Brainstorm. This game is likely to go on for a very long time. And so Gerry is going to wait until his hand is either not very good anymore or he needs to find a particular card, I think, before he's going to fire off this Brainstorm.
And one thing you may find here is, Gerry drawing a Thoughtseize this turn. It's kind of interesting because you can't just fire off the Thoughtseize now in case you think Brian does have, Jace the Mind Sculptor, one of his other Planeswalkers, or he can fire it off next turn, the turn before the Visions goes off.
Yeah, I think he wants to fire it off now because Brian has so many threatening 4s, as we see. Jace the Mind Sculptor, another Tarmogoyf and Abrupt Decay. I will bet almost anything that we're taking Jace out of his hand.
See, I was going to make an argument for Tarmogoyf.
Well, we have the Nile Spellbomb to sort of mitigate it to some extent. And, I mean, if Jace sticks right now, we're just done. Gerry just doesn't have any way to get out from under. I think Gerry ideally would like to save this Brainstorm for a spot after his Ancestral goes off, because his hand's going to be, maybe have extra lands, spells that don't do anything, whatever, at that point. So, but it's not clear if he's going to have enough time, given how hard this Tarmogoyf is hitting. So that's enough to induce the Spell Bomb.
Gerry draws a card, he draws Abrupt Decay. Good draw.
Not bad.
Good draw for Gerry there.
I'm curious to see if Gerry is willing to crack. He would ideally like to sit on his fetch lands. Is he willing to take this hit so we can hold them and then Abrupt Decay the Tarmogoyf next turn?
Yep. And Gerry decides just to take the hit.
I like this. I like the patience.
Brian's draw for his turn was a
Brainstorm. All right,
no,
we're firing it off.
Are we firing? Okay.
So forget me. I like the aggressiveness.
Front runner.
Yep.
There's Tarmogoyf now. So Brian's hand is just an Abrupt Decay and the Brainstorm was his draw for this turn. Gerry's last card is just a Brainstorm here with the Ancestral Visions looming.
Yes. A lot of pressure on Brian to... and there's a Tarmogoyf for Gerry, which is actually a fine draw here, as he can... Abrupt Decay will represent Brian's whole turn, probably. But we're going to wait it out. I guess maybe we can find a Thoughtseize for the Abrupt Decay.
Yeah.
And then...
Gerry looks like he's content to just take 5 on the chin here.
Yep. Such patience. trying to ride this ancestral to victory.
Gerry moves down to 9, and we see the Brainstorm from Brian.
Yep.
See Polluted Delta, Deathrite Shaman, and Creeping Tar Pit.
Creeping Tar Pit's not bad here either.
Not bad at all. So while Brian won't be able to keep up with the raw card advantage of the Ancestral Vision, he may be able to kill Gerry in time before Gerry can get all the cards out.
Yeah. We'll see, Gerry. There's a lot. I mean, Gerry's going to look at so many cards next turn if he sits on this Brainstorm. The Visions plus Draw Step plus Brainstorm is a look at 7.
Yeah.
7's a large number.
See Deathrite Shaman, see Creeping Tar Pit, and Brian's last card is a Thoughtseize. Visions goes off. E-Plague, Charlotte's Agent, Tarmogoyf, Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, we could have really used a land in that sequence.
Yeah.
I mean, we get to go him, Tarmogoyf, but we're still... Or we can go Tarmogoyf, Abrupt Decay, but we still... Brian has a lot of different damage sources that require different answers. The Tarmogoyf needs a blocker. You need to also find removal spells for Deathrite Shaman and the Creeping Tar Pit. So, a big question mark about whether or not Gerry's going to be able to efficiently deploy this hand in time.
Yep.
Man, that Creeping Tar Pit.
Big draw.
Big draw.
Big draw. Even the other interesting thing too is just, as you said, Deathrite Shaman representing a different form of damage just because of the black ability, moving instance, dealing 2 that way. I mean, he doesn't have the lands right now to go to activate Deathrite Shaman and Creeping Tar Pit, but it only takes 1 more.
Yeah. And he's still sitting on. Do we know the last card in Brian's hand?
Thoughtseize.
Thoughtseize. Okay. Gerry trying to mull this over. Brainstorm trying to find a 5th land and set up Charlotte's Agent, which he found.
Fetch land.
Yeah, another point that Gerry has to take to break that open.
He really does need that 5th land, though. He really need that 5th land this turn.
Yeah, because it's not just about this turn; it's about next turn as well. So. Gerry setting back 2. Close to setting back 2.
There's a fetch land. Here's your Tarmogoyf.
Yep. And it'll just pass the turn back. So, if Brian wants to Abrupt Decay this Tarmogoyf, it means he can't attack with the Creeping Tar Pit.
Yep.
Which is the argument to do what Gerry did over hemming him, where hemming, yes, it gets rid of the Abrupt Decay, but now Brian's mana is free to just attack.
So we're going to see a Thoughtseize here from Brian. Gerry's going to go down to 8. He's going to likely Abrupt Decay this Tarmogoyf.
Yes. Since he's aware of the Abrupt Decay in Brian's hand.
Yep. You guys see Brian going, all right, man.
Yep.
Take care of it. It's dead. Thoughtseize here. Charlotte's Agent, Tarmogoyf. Funny thing about Charlotte's Agent is when you look at it at Thoughtseize, you see it. You see it 2/2, but you realize that I don't know what's coming off of that card.
Could be anything.
Yeah, it could literally be anything.
We had to take Tarmogoyf out of this hand, right? Because Gerry might not, if he doesn't draw a land next turn, then it's 2 plays.
Yeah.
And the Goyf is pretty threatening. Although the flip side is if Gerry draws a 6th land, then he gets his Charlotte's Agent twice, and like Lord only knows what that could lead to, you know?
Now, what kind of answers does Gerry have to Creeping Tar Pit? Because, I mean, as good as Abrupt Decay is, that's not one of them.
He has a Jit in his main deck. I'm not sure if it's there or not anymore, but that's his one main deck answer. He can, gain himself a little bit of life with Deathrite Shaman if he finds one. I mean, but no, he doesn't have a lot in the way of good answers. He has a Dismember and a 2nd one on the board. A Ghastly Demise. I'm not even sure if any of these cards are even in his deck.
No.
So after taking the Tarmogoyf, leaving Gerry with 2 Charlotte's Agents, Brian fetches for Bayou. Wants to scope out the graveyard. We're going to make a mana with Deathrite Shaman and attack Gerry down to 6.
He's just going right after that life total now.
Yep.
And so Brian is at 12. So
Ooh, a Wasteland.
wow.
Not bad.
Not
It'll play.
Not bad at all.
It'll play.
Jerry's going to Charlotte's Agent. What do we find? Dealer, Nile
Sure.
Spellbomb? Yeah,
Whatever.
absolutely.
Run it back.
Yeah, question now is, do you want to play Wasteland, or do you want to play Wasteland and use it to cast Charlotte's Agent, or do you want to use Wasteland to blow up that Creeping Tar Pit?
I think you need to Wasteland the Creeping Tar Pit. I feel like you need to Wasteland the Creeping Tar Pit because the Deathrite Shaman's still representing a clock that's very hard to interact with.
Yeah. Now the interesting thing here is, he sees him pass back, which basically says, you can activate that Creeping Tar Pit if you want to. I almost dare you to do that.
Yeah. No reason to do it right away.
Yeah.
And Brian just shaking his head at that Wasteland.
Yep. How many Wastelands does Gerry play for?
2.
Had it.
It's not. Only need to draw 1, right?
You play it so you can draw them.
We could even arguably 2 is too many because we just want the 1.
Well. And Brian draws a Wasteland of its own.
So yeah, Brian had done a very good job of sort of, setting this game up around his Creeping Tar Pit connecting, and that Wasteland blows it all up. And Brian's actually fairly low himself after that Tarmogoyf hit. He's on 7, staring down lethal next turn from the Goyf and the Charlotte's Agent.
What a draw. Gerry draws his card. Gerry draws a Brainstorm.
So we're gonna don't know where we're gonna leave with. Feel like we don't. If we had more cards in our hand, we might try to set up Charlotte's Agent, but it feels more likely that we just fire off and then Brainstorm after the fact.
I think he is thinking a similar thing to you, which is Charlotte's Agent.
Nope.
Can't play that one.
Nope. Sure.
All right.
Free Brainstorm, not bad. Finds Ancestral Hymn.
And Tropical Island to go along with his other Brainstorm.
Sets back.
Gerry's
Him.
He's got to be super careful here again because he can't, he can't sack a fetch land or anything.
Yeah.
Because he is at 5. He has to be super, super careful right now.
Well, I think that Brian actually, unless he has a kill spell in his hand, actually has to chump with Deathrite Shaman right now.
Is there no Abrupt Decay there? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, that's the last one that we knew about. So that's going to take care of the Tarmogoyf. And Brian's going to go down to 5 as well. So now things even get more interesting, Patrick, because now it's like, all right, Brian, do you go to the Nug with Deathrite Shaman, or do you try to gain life?
I think with Gerry having a board and another cantrip in play, he can't win this game going long. Even if Brian ripped Jace, right? It's like, is he even ahead? I don't think so.
Well, he chooses the game too.
Okay. You're facing down an Ancestral.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you expect to win this game going long. He just passes the turn back.
Gerry draws the Tropical Island we knew about, in with Charlotte's Agent now. Both of them, it looks like they're going to knock Brian down to 3. Deathrite, if he chooses to gain life, will pull him up to 5.
Well, yeah, what are you? I guess his draw at that point is, I guess Garrick is a good draw.
Garrick's good. Abrupt Decay is pretty good. There are definitely some decent draw steps there. He has Snapcaster in his deck, does he not? He has 3 Snapcaster mages too. He has some good draws.
Sure.
Maybe prolonging is better. There goes Tarmogoyf, so Braun's going to go up to 5. So he's giving himself a couple more turns here, hoping that Gerry kind of just bricks.
Yeah, it just feels like Gerry has so much more, like, you know. I just don't feel like Braun can really win this game going long.
Well, I guess the issue is that even though he had 2 activations to put Gerry down to 1, he's never going to be able to actually deal that 1 point of damage because he doesn't have any burn or anything, and Jerry's not going to sack a fetch land.
But don't we have, if we rip a Gaia or a kill spell, we might have enough time to race with the Deathrite Shaman.
That's true. Here come the Charlotte's Agents again. He's going to activate this now before blocks.
Is Gerry contemplating spell bombing himself?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Spell bombing himself in response.
I'll knock Braun down to 1. Dismember is Jerry's draw step off of that spell bomb. Looking at a hand of Dismember, Minotauric, and Brainstorm here for Gerry.
He can lead. Yeah, he's gonna him here.
I want to know your secrets.
Thought Season land.
Fetch land.
So now he can. He just. I guess if he wanted to, he could kill the Deathrite Shaman. Not sure what he's risking. Gonna throw 3. Finish that off. He still has Wasteland up for the Creeping Tar Pit. Psionic Blast. Is it there? No, I don't think so.
What do we draw?
Oh, like, and there, yep, there it is.
Jerry
wins a sweat.
Yeah.
That was
close game.
Yeah.
Close game between these 2 players. 2 pretty good friends. Gerry Thompson wins with his take on Bug over Braun Duin, 2-1.
And I believe if our updates were correct, Todd Anderson also won his match with the same deck.
8-0.
8-0. Oh, incorrect.
Oh, we're moving to Joe and Todd. Okay.
We saw game 1 go to Todd
on
our prompt. All right. But yeah, Joe Bernal, is he, I assume he's also, oh no.
Oh, Joe Bernal is a 4-colored monster. That's what his deck is called.
Drew Levin is staying in the area, and I birded him on Moto, play against Lou Leskins, who was also in 4-color nonsense territory, so perhaps a descendant.
I was sitting down with Joe earlier during deck construction, just getting to chat with him. I haven't seen him for a couple of months, just figuring out what he's playing, and I'm like, what do you want me to call this deck when I'm in the booth? And he's like, hard to say. Nothing I can't do, and basically
do a little bit of it all.
Yeah, he's Stoneblade, and then you can say he's Esper Stoneblade, but he also has Deathrite Shaman and Abrupt Decay and Sylvan Library in his deck too. So there's almost nothing he can't do with his 4-color deck, and it's clearly been working out for him very well. As the game that we cut into, we see Stoneforge with a Sword of Feast and Famine, another Stoneforge Mystic, I believe a Deathrite Shaman, and a Sylvan Library, and just perfect mana.
Charlotte's Agent into Ancestral.
Ding, 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 ding.
Todd with a force, 2 forces, a Brainstorm, another Ancestral.
And the deadly Creeping Tar Pit.
He has to, I assume, again, sort of wandering in this game with no context, he needs to find some answer to that sword because he can't block with Charlotte's Agent or Tarmogoyf or Deathrite Shaman, as protection from green and black covers all of that.
Well, Abrupt Decay is one heck of a card, and he's going to need to draw one right now.
Yeah.
So we see Todd shuffling cards away with Brainstorm and Fetch Lands. A typical Legacy interaction. Either way, he's in a boatload of trouble right now.
Yeah. Doesn't look good.
You see someone play Tarmogoyf,
yeah,
shuffle